New Life. It is a beautiful rainy day, as most of you all know. I love rain, so we're out in it today. In our story groups, we have been spending time together talking about our stories. We've talked about telling our stories, how our stories are not meant to stay in. We've talked about our stories as in the times that we have found shalom, we have found peace in our stories, and the times that we haven't found peace. That's been struggle and tragedy. And last week we talked about when tragedy happens in our stories. Well, today I want to talk about how do we find meaning when there is tragedy in our stories? Have you ever wondered how you can take a tragedy, something bad, and turn it for good and use it for good? We've often wondered that, and God says, I will take evil and I will use it for good. Back in the book of Hosea, there is a story about the Israelites and how the Israelites had turned away from God. They were unfaithful to Him. They were worshiping idols, and God was very upset with them, but He wanted to redeem them. He wanted to find a way. And so the prophet Hosea, he asked him to go and to marry Gomer. Well, Gomer was, in the Bible, what they called a harlot. And so Gomer was not the best people, and here he was supposed to go marry her, and he wasn't sure about it, but he did it. He married Gomer, and it didn't take very long, and Gomer ran away. And she was unfaithful to Hosea. And so Hosea could have been angry, he could have been upset, and at first he was. But then he had a change of heart, and he went to find her, and he went with a tenderness and a love. And when he found her, he brought her home and he redeemed her. He was the only one that had ever ran after her, that had ever pursued her. And through that, not only was Hosea her master, he became her husband. And they redeemed not only the marriage, they redeemed a relationship. Well, this was very symbolic to what was going on in the time of Israel during that time. And God wanted the Israelites to return to covenant with Him and to be faithful to Him, which they eventually did. And so something that appeared to be evil, appeared to be a tragedy, was actually brought around for good. How hard is it to find meaning in the middle of our tragedy? It's not easy. It is not easy when everything we see around us is destruction. I recently spoke with a lady, and she told me that she read in the news that there was a young single mother that had abused her children incomprehensibly. It was so sad. And as she started to tell me the story that she had read in the news, she began to cry. And she said, I understand that woman. I was that single mother. I was that single mother that just wanted some time for myself. I just wanted some silence. I could understand her. And my heart is broken at what it became and the tragedy, but I do understand her. And it was in that moment that I was able to look at a woman that has had many years of struggle, many years of tragedy in her life, and has struggled to find any good in any part, any season of her life. I was able to look at her and say, you may not have seen good, but you are telling me about this woman and how you can understand her and how you want to step out and you want to help other single mothers and you want them to know that you're there. You want to support them and you want to be that one. This is the meaning out of your tragedy. You can do something good for others. Something good can come out of it. And as she sat there and wept, she said, when I leave here today, I'm going to reach out to single moms, and I'm going to start letting them know that I want to be their support. I want to be there for them. I want to help them. So even though all we see with our earthly eyes is destruction, God sees the bigger picture. His ways are above our ways. He sees so much more than we can see. And often when we go through the struggle and we go through tragedy, many times God softens our hearts. And not only does he soften our heart towards him, he softens our hearts towards others. And we find meaning in the midst of our tragedy. So today, if you are in the middle of struggle and tragedy, don't forget that there is good in it. God can take it. God can take the tragedy and he can make something beautiful of it, just as he does our lives. He went to Calvary and he took our lives and he made beauty from ashes. And he gives us dancing for mourning. So be encouraged, be hopeful. With hope, we can believe that he can make something beautiful out of our tragedy. Take some time in your story group, talk through the questions, and discuss, open up, talk with the people in your group, get to know each other, and we will see you on Sunday. It's going to be a great time. Don't forget, we have a children's service, special children's service, Sunday at 10 a.m. Invite any kids you know. You adults do not want to miss this. And don't forget, ice cream sandwiches. We'll see you soon.